Charles Barkley and the Houston Rockets looking to redeem themselves after a lackluster performance in Game 1, coming onto the floor here at the Delta Center. And the Utah Jazz, who have never led a series this late in the playoffs, but they took advantage big time in Game 1 on their home court to take a 1-0 lead as we welcome you to Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Houston Rockets and the Utah Jazz. And welcome back to the Western Conference Finals and the starting lineups. Game 2. It'll be Matt Maloney and Clyde Drexler in the backcourt for the Houston Rockets, and up front Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Mario Elie. For the Utah Jazz, 64 wins, a franchise record in the regular year. Jeff Hornacek and John Stockton are the guards, and up front Karl Malone, Greg Ostertag, and Brian Russell. The officials tonight will be Ed T. Rush, Jack Nees, and Jimmy Clark. And there is Karl Malone, as Brian Burwell reported, going without any protection on that very nasty-looking blister on his right hand. Any problem could arise?
Well, after the blister burst in the second half, Karl Malone in Game 1 was 4 for 11 from the field. And there is a discomfort there, and anytime that you raise up to shoot, naturally you're stretching that area because it is right on the cushion of your right hand, the shooting hand.
19 straight wins at home for the Utah Jazz, who have won 32 of their last 35 games, including the playoffs. So they finish strong and continue to play strong in postseason.
Well, they are now 44-3 at home this year. 38-3 during the season, 6-0 at playoff time.
And the Rockets, one of those teams to beat them here at the Delta Center, and the opening tip controlled by the Utah Jazz. John Stockton, the point guard, and Elie is on Hornacek, and Stockton breaking in for the layup.
That's exactly how we started Game 1. They ran this play 3 times in Game 1 to the right side of the floor. Stockton scored or handed off for a score.
And now Olajuwon against Ostertag, who got into foul trouble with 5 personals, and Mario Elie throws it, and it's deflected. Last touch by Stockton, so it is still Houston's ball.
Now the big challenge defensively for Utah, double team the post people and then get back quickly to the three-point shooters.
Matt Maloney again has a pass that's an errant pass, but it's deflected by Hornacek, so the Rockets fortunate on their first 2 passes on their opening possession.
Well, I like the fact that Maloney didn't look for the 3, that he took it to the rim.
Mario Elie with the jumper. Elie had 10 points on 2 for 9 shooting, ties the score. They're going to need Mario Ellie's long-range shooting, will the Rockets.
Here we come at the UCLA set again. You got to keep an eye on Stockton. Barkley just pushed Stockton out there. Could have been a foul.
And Karl Malone taking his first shot of the game, way off the mark. And here is Maloney guarded by Stockton. Going low to Olajuwon, and Maloney for 3. And a foul is called, and this will be 3 shots for Matt Maloney as John Stockton fouled him beyond the arc.
Now in Game 1, Matt Maloney and Mario Elie were 2 for 11 in 3-point attempts. Now you're going to see, now Stockton is halfway coming back. He got himself too deep to come back on Maloney to apply the pressure that time.
Matt Maloney, who came from the CBA and was the Ivy League Player of the Year at Penn, and his story has been well chronicled. How he took over when Brent Price got injured, and Charles Barkley and the rest of the Rockets said, we can play and win with Matt Maloney at point guard, and he had a tremendous year, the rookie from Penn. He had only 6 points, however, in the first game on Monday. He makes the free throws, and the Rockets lead 5-2.
Now Maloney's biggest asset is he attempts 7 threes a game, and also at playoff time, and he makes 43%.
And Malone throws the ball away, and that time it looked like Brian Russell didn't cut to the hoop.
Well, he was trying, Dick, but you had 2 Houston players who cut him off and banged him. Karl Malone was anticipating that he could cover the ground.
Rockets have won 11 of their last 16 playoff games on the road, so they know how to win away from home on the road. As Olajuwon, with his first shot, is an air ball, and here come the Jazz down, trailing by 3 with a minute and a half going by. Stockton gets us the rebound. And here's Karl Malone, and he hits. So Malone, now 1 for 2, gets his first basket.
Once again, the second shot attempts. That was a surprising thing in game 1. Houston's ability to only get 10, and then Utah with 15.
And a deflection. Malone got a piece of Maloney's shot. And now the Jazz. Hornacek, and you got to get him in a hurry because he'll get catch and shoot. Ostertag misses with Olajuwon defending, and it's still Utah ball.
Well, Olajuwon disrupted that shot, but Ostertag at his size at 7'2", 265, he has got to send that home with some authority.
Just a bit more than 2 minutes gone by in the first quarter of game number 2, and on the turnover, Mario Elie picked up by Hornacek. Barkley open for 3, and Charles Barkley continues to struggle from the field. He was 3 for 10 on Monday.
Malone was down the floor. Stockton could not see him.
Hornacek throws it away into the hands of Barkley. Already the Jazz turn it over 3 times, and twice in a row on their last 2 possessions. Utah turned it over a good deal in the first quarter last night and then settled down the rest of the way. Barkley going baseline and is fouled by Ostertag. Good quick move by Barkley.
Bad foul by Ostertag. Anytime that a guy goes to the baseline and he's behind the backboard, just keep him there. You don't have to cut him off. There was nothing Barkley could do with that shot. Just stay with him, stay parallel, and keep him behind the backboard.
Ostertag with his first foul, and he had 5. He has been in foul trouble throughout the season against the Houston Rockets. But remember, the Jazz have 3 centers to use against Hakeem and the Rockets. Barkley makes the first free throw.
Well, during the playoffs, you know, Barkley is only getting 13 shot attempts a game. And he's getting to the line at least 8 foul shot attempts per game in his 18 points. But in this series, he struggled in game 1. He could not score over the top of Karl Malone.
1 out of 2 for Charles Barkley. The Rockets lead 6-4. Ostertag setting a screen at the top. Now Hornacek picked up by Elie.
This is a UCLA cut on the left side of the floor. Then they bring Malone off. Good call.
And Stockton is knocked down, and a foul is called against
Barkley.
Charles Barkley, his first foul, and Barkley complaining to Ed Rush.
Well, keep an eye on this. See, watch Stockton set the screen. Now that's a foul on Charles. Come on. He had a definite chance here to see him. See, he saw him. He just ran right through him. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to do that. You got to give the guards in this league a lot of credit when they set those screens on big power forwards and centers.
And once again, Stockton goes down, and this time, let's see, Jack Nees calls another foul on Barkley to the delight of the crowd. His second, and the crowd gives it a standing ovation.
Now, this is serious. I mean, come on. We have only played here 3 minutes of basketball. Already Barkley with 2. You know that they need him for a big scoring night, and now they'll bring Kevin Willis in. Now keep an eye right down in here. He's going to set the screen. Here's Stockton. Yeah, I mean, that's a foul. I mean, come on, Charles. What do you can't try to make a point here. You're on the road. That is a definite call. It's not even questionable.
So Kevin Willis comes in for Barkley. Now Rudy Tomjanovich has running on the floor, still yelling at Jack Nees. And there is Hornacek missing. Ostertag with a second shot. Here's Ostertag again. And he'll get the ball again, and they'll finally call a loose ball foul against Greg Ostertag, his second, as Rudy Tomjanovich. I'm surprised, he didn't get a technical the way he was raging at Jack Nees.
Yeah, well, you know, we have veteran officials here right now. We have guys with tolerance. Okay? And you know what I mean by that. That's a major key. All right? But you can see Ostertag now has had 4 easy shots. He's got to send them down because they're all high percentage shots. They're all inside of 3 feet.
Here's Clyde Drexler, who settled for the perimeter shot in game 1. Misses his first attempt. 6-4, the Rockets lead. Greg Foster has checked in for the Jazz, replacing Ostertag. Here is Stockton, goes behind. Foster not ready for that pass, but he was a big impact player in game 1. Malone goes in, and his second effort is good, and the score is tied.
Well, that was just a quick move by Carl. He knew that he missed the shot, and he went right into the chest of Kevin Willis and blocked him out to get that ball.
Here's Olajuwon coming back, and Hakeem with his first points of the game. But already, the Utah Jazz have 4 offensive rebounds, and that's what they used to beat the Rockets in Game 1.
You know, it's interesting. Everything looks like it's all Utah. All Utah. Until you check the score, and it's 8-6 the Rockets.
7:45 remaining in the first quarter. And Hornacek with the catch and shot hits. Very dangerous is Jeff Hornacek. He won't put the ball on the floor, and he gets his first points to tie the game at 8.
Well, you know, you have to honor Hornacek because he's so clever. And once he makes the catch, if you're too tight, he's by you. You've got to go into the big fella. He's got to take.
They are. Olajuwon with the fall away and a foul. So Hakeem Olajuwon, who now is being guarded by Greg Foster, is fouled.
Yeah, he is no match, Dick, for Foster. Foster's no match for Olajuwon. Just keep an eye here now. See, he'll just take him right into the middle. The double team guy must go for the basketball as it's dribbled. He cannot be trying to double team Hakeem high. You saw what he did. He has split 2 double teams.
The foul was on Karl Malone. The first foul on Malone, and Hakeem Olajuwon, who went to the line 17 times on Monday night and hit 12 of those shots, completes the 3-point play. So the Rockets are up by 3. And it appeared as if somebody might have thrown something from the crowd that might have hit John Stockton.
Yeah, it's over here to our left in the corner. Jackie Neese called the security guys and then told them it's down on the opposite side where they're taking the ball in bounds here right now.
So following the delay, the security people over there watching things. The Jazz trailing down by 3. Plenty of time on the shot clock for the Utah Jazz. And Willis knocks Malone to the floor, so already the Rockets have been a lot more aggressive than they were at the start of Game 1.
Dick, at both ends of the floor, every time the whistle blows, we have guys arguing. We have at least 3 guys yelling at the referees. You know this is playoff time. The refs are in a groove right now. You must adjust to the refs.
Malone from Hornacek, and he beat Kevin Willis. So the Rocket lead is 1. Malone starts off with 6 points in the game. Olajuwon leading the Rockets with 5.
There's no way that Foster can try to continue to front Olajuwon once he gets the post area. Hakeem is too strong, and he keeps him behind. Now, right down in front, you see this is just a beautiful move by Karl Malone by freezing the man.
And Foster commits the foul at the other end.
I would like to show you a nice move. Here's John Stockton right here. Here is Hornacek coming up, setting a screen for Karl Malone, who's going to go down in and post up. Now, once that happens, Hornacek's going to step back. The defensive man tries to front. All right, Karl Malone. The ball will come right back to Hornacek, and then a pass right down to Karl Malone. Now, keep an eye on it now. Here's your back screen, a guard sacrificing his body. All right, Willis is caught on top side. It's all over. Once any good pivot man or power forward in this league gets a man on his back, you send it down strong.
Olajuwon, who was fouled by Foster before the timeout, hits the first free throw. The Jazz have out-rebounded the Rockets 9-1, including 4 off the offensive glass. And there you see those numbers. Despite that, the Rockets are leading by 2, 12-10. Hakeem, 1 out of 2 from the line. Very precision offense, kind of a throwback to the late 60s and early 70s. You don't see that much in the NBA. That's the way the Utah Jazz run their plays.
Everything with Utah, according to Jerry Sloan, is execution first. We do not play one-on-one basketball.
3 seconds on the shot clock, and Hornacek gives it up. We don't often see that by the Utah Jazz.
He wants to clear out.
And there is Foster. Has a tough assignment against Hakeem, who misses the baseline shot.
Got himself caught a little bit too deep that time behind the board. He did not have a good look at that rim.
Here is Foster, who scored all 9 of his points in a 4-minute span in the second quarter, including a 3-point basket on Monday. Stockton gets a step on Malone, leaving Malone open and is put through by Brian Russell. Maloney was beaten, and Brian Russell, who really had a breakout year for the Utah Jazz, ties the game, and that is the 5th offensive rebound for the Jazz.
Now, Brian Russell's given him 13 a game in these 9 playoffs. You've got to pay attention to him.
Drexler gets the layup, and we didn't see any of that in Game 1.
No, see, Drexler, he settled in Game 1 for all perimeter shots. That's there for him. He can take Russell, he can take Shandon Anderson to the glass, and what you like to see is him get fouled and get on the line.
John Stockton coming around the screen, ties it up at 14 with 5:15 remaining in the first quarter. Stockton now with 4 points. Malone leading the Jazz with 6.
Well, if you're going to follow on a screen and roll, John Stockton will be open all night in the middle of the floor.
Here is Hakeem from outside, and Olajuwon picking up where he left off with 8 points, although he did go empty in the latter stages of the fourth quarter. He's got 8 points, and the Rockets regain the lead.
So they're playing 3-man basketball. Hornacek, Stockton, and Malone. The other 2 guys are opposite high.
And here's Foster getting a 3-point happy. He hit one last night, then took another one, and Jerry Sloan had to be shaking his head, and now he misses one from downtown again.
Clyde just took a nasty spill that time on that pass.
And from the corner, Drexler misses. Stockton gets the rebound. 4:20 to go in the first quarter. Hornacek with the catch and shot. Misses from 3, and here's Maloney pushing it up for the Houston Rockets, and he gets the basket. Matt Maloney now with 5 points, and now the Rockets lead by 4.
Anytime Ostertag is out of the lineup, you can take the ball right to the rim here. You don't have to be worrying about shot blocking.
And Karl Malone with an off-balance shot, but there is Stockton again. Malone going in for the layup, and it's tipped up by Foster. Let's see who gets credit for the basket. It will be Greg Foster.
Now that is John Stockton's 2nd offensive rebound in this quarter.
3:40 to go, and despite the big edge off the glass for the Jazz, the Rockets lead by 2. Here is Maloney penetrating, and only white shirts underneath, so the Rockets get back defensively. The Jazz looking to tie it up, and Hornacek's pass off the hands of Foster. We have a 3-on-2 break, broken up by Hornacek.
Great play.
Great anticipation by Jeff Hornacek.
4-on-2.
And Hornacek open for the jumper, ties the game once again. We have had 6 ties in this first quarter and a timeout.
Dick, it's always nice when you run a 4-on-2 break that you can have the confidence to pass through the trailer for a 15-foot jump shot. All right, you can see that was just a 3-on-2. Now here it comes right in here, right into the picture here right now. Maloney makes Hornacek excellent anticipation. Now look at this. The first guy took the defense through, and now you have confidence that Hornacek is going to nail. Right now we have John Stockton involved in a screen and roll. But over here we have a staggered screen or a double screen for Jeff Hornacek, keeping you occupied. Now just watch what happens as Stockton comes into the middle. Olajuwon steps up but then goes back, and Maloney follows. Now if you're going to do that, Stockton's going to be in the middle of this floor all night long because the distance is too far for the offside people to rotate in. It's called precision movement, spacing, stretch the defense.
John Stockton gets his first breather, and Howard Isley, who didn't have impressive numbers but played a solid game that didn't show in the box score, replaces him at point guard. Hakeem Olajuwon now with 10 points as he hits the jump shot. Charles Barkley with 2 early fouls on the sideline, as is Greg Ostertag, who picked up 2 for the Jazz. And here's Isley, who passes out to Karl Malone. And there is Foster tipping the ball into Isley's hand. So once again, the Jazz keep possession. They're getting a bundle of second chance points. This time, Willis gets the rebound. 2:25 remaining in the first quarter. The Rockets lead by 2. Mario Elie off the glass, and he's fouled. So Elie will go to the line.
Nick, you made a great point, and that is too many second shot attempts. Now, we are nearing the end of the first quarter. 2 minutes to go. And already, Utah has 7 second shot attempts at the offensive end. Now, you know that Houston's doing a good job defensively on his first shot, but the reason why the game is close are the second shot chances. They've got to cut this down. 15 for a game is a ton for any team to get 15. They have 7 with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, that's too much, and you know the Rockets worked on that during their off day. Mario Ellie, who's been an outstanding free throw shooter in the playoffs, takes 1 out of 2. Ellie, an 84% free throw shooter, and another foul called against the Jazz.
Now this is just a nice try for a save by Karl Malone in that area there. Unfortunately, the ball bounced up and hit the back of the backboard.
So the foul waved off, and it is an out-of-bounds play. Sedale Threed has come in the game for the Houston Rockets, and Sedale Threed hits the jumper.
Well, you know he can make that, Dick. He's been around a long time. He's been with a lot of playoff teams. For his career, he averages 10 points a game, and that will get him going off the bench.
Playoffs, 12 out of his 14 years, did not score in game 1. And he hits the jumper here, so already the Rockets getting some mileage from their bench. Pass Isley is pushed as Malone trying to get it inside.
Karl Malone right now is talking to the referee, Eddie Rush, mainly because Sedale Threed put a real whack on Karl Malone as Malone was trying to come across the lane. He is really hot. And as soon as that foul was called, he immediately went right to Eddie Rush and vented a little bit. Keep an eye on this. Now just watch Sedale Threed set him up. See, now you say, that's a little bit of a flop. But what Malone is doing here right now is he's trying to get the call maybe down the line for that same screen.
14 foul against the Rockets. It was charged to Clyde Drexler. Hornacek. And Foster gets the rebound again. So another offensive rebound. That's 8 here in the first quarter. We have under a minute and a half remaining with the Utah Jazz trailing by 5 to the Rockets. Brian Russell makes it a 2-point game. Russell with the first 3-pointer of the game for either team.
He's just had an outstanding playoff so far. That's his 3rd make of the year in the playoffs. He's 13 for 42.
Sedale Threed misses from the perimeter. Rebound by Malone. That's 5 rebounds for the mailman. Under a minute remaining in the first. And a 2-point lead for the Rockets. Isley misses for 3. Malone gets another offensive rebound. And the Jazz are really destroying the Houston Rockets off the offensive glass. 9 offensive boards.
And it's staggering because they're still ahead by 2.
Brian Russell working against Mario Ellie. Very tough defender, but that doesn't affect Russell, who hits a 2 to tie the game at 23.
Very tough shot.
So the Jazz quickly erase a 5-point deficit with 13 on the shot clock and 20 remaining in the quarter. Olajuwon moves into Foster, misses the layup. Foster with a good body defense there.
Yeah, he anticipated him going baseline. It could have been an offensive foul.
Playing for the last shot of the quarter, Howard Isley from Boston College. Very reliable backup point guard. And Isley gets it in to Malone, and a foul is called at the buzzer. No time showing, but a Rocket foul.
Keep an eye on Brian Russell coming here. Look, Mario Ellie right up in there, challenged in the NBA. That's the difference between the NBA and college. At this level, all they need is just a brief opening, and it can just be 1 inch to 2 inches, and the shot is right in your face.
Karl Malone going to the line, and the first free throw attempt by the Utah Jazz tonight with 0.4 of a second put back on the clock. And the Jazz with their first lead since the opening basket of the game. Remember, at the end of the half in game 1, John Stockton fired up a 3 at the buzzer.
Right now, Rudy Tomjanovich must solve the defensive rebounding problem, and that is the perimeter 3 players, meaning Drexler, Ellie, and Sedale Threed, have got to come back inside and help out on the defensive boards, Dick, because right now they are in no man's land.
The Jazz finished with 7 straight points, and Karl Malone has 10. And we have completed 1 here at the Delta Center with the score, the Utah Jazz 25 and the Houston Rockets 23. We'll Welcome back to the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Start of the second quarter in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Inside the NBA will follow tonight's action on TNT. Tomorrow night, Game 2. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock between the Miami Heat, who gave the Chicago Bulls a tremendous scare before the Bulls' defense in the fourth quarter of Game 1. And, of course, Friday will be in Houston for Game 3 of this series between the Jazz and the Rockets. The shooting in the first quarter, but the big story, the offensive rebounds for Utah, a 9-0 whitewash.
Yeah, and it has meant 9 additional shots. Now, there's a staggering stat here right now. In the first quarter, in the rebounding department, Utah 20 rebounds, Houston 4. On the foul line, the Rockets were 7 for 10. Utah only 2 for 2.
Clyde Drexler going to the basket and the misses, and Willis with the follow-up. Charles Barkley with 2 fouls back in the lineup for the Rockets, as is Eddie Johnson, who the Rockets hope will give him some three-point shooting. Antoine Carr has come in for the Utah Jazz as Stockton is fouled, and Shandon Anderson, the rookie, also in for Utah. Let's check in with Brian Burwell.
Okay, Dick, everybody saw Carl just go off the court. The dead skin was actually curling up on the bruise, and it was bothering him, so they went back and they're trimming it off. This is really getting graphic, isn't it? Back to you guys.
Well, it's getting graphic, but you're doing a good job to say the necessary things, Brian. Thank you.
Because it's definitely affected his shooting. You know, sometimes he's right on the money, other times he's missing so outrageously that you know that it is the heel of the right hand.
John Stockton, who had 16 points and 13 assists in Monday night's Game 1, giving the Jazz the 2-point lead. Half a minute gone by in the second. Barkley guarded by Foster. Remember, Charles Barkley picked up 2 early fouls, and Clyde Drexler is blocked by Antoine Carr, and another block by Carr results in a foul against Kevin Willis.
I like the fact that Drexler is being more active right now. He can take whoever he's playing off the dribble from that left side of the floor, and then with movement, when the ball goes into the post, more cutting by Clyde will open him up, and they have difficulty defending him.
Kevin Willis on the line. He's a 65% shooter in the playoffs. Willis, with 18 minutes, scored 3 points and 5 rebounds in Game 1. The 34-year-old veteran, and a lot of veterans on Rudy Tomjanovich's team, built to win a title, maybe one last shot.
Well, out of their top 8 players, 7 guys are over 33 years of age. So you know there's a ton of experience right there. And when you think of it, and you say Eddie Johnson, Barkley, Sedell 3, Matt Maloney, you know, and Kevin Willis, they're all new to this team, and they're in that 8-man rotation.
Here is Stockton coming around a Foster screen. Brian Russell misses from 3, and Barkley with the outlet pass to Eddie Johnson. 9-27. Little more than a minute gone by here in this second quarter. Sedale Threet getting a lot of first half action. Misses. Willis crashing the boards. And now the Jazz have Antoine Carr releasing, and Carr gets the layup.
Well, that's what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to avoid easy baskets, especially when big men release early.
And we saw Karl Malone do that countless times in Game 1. Willis' shot falls off. And another rebound by Antoine Carr, and another release by a big man, Greg Foster, and he misses the jumper. He was open from the baseline.
Yeah, unfortunately, he could not turn the corner. His weight was going, and if he would have continued, he probably would have dribbled right out of bounds.
I was going to say, weight going where? There you go. Shandon Anderson guarding Eddie Johnson, who misses, and the rebound, long rebound, and here is Brian Russell, and he'll get the easy basket, and the Jazz have done that too many times to suit the Rockets.
Yeah, well, Rudy T is very upset. I mean, he called a quick 20-second, and the reason for that is if your man takes a 3, you know that you can release on him if he continues to watch the shot, and that's what they have done here on 2 occasions. Now, this is just a good break by a big man outrunning his defender. And if you notice, there are no big defenders in your picture. And then at the play right after this, Russell was defending Eddie Johnson. When Eddie Johnson attempted the 3, Russell continued on going. Eddie Johnson never made a move to retreat. Now, the last play. Here is Eddie Johnson right here with the basketball. Shandon Anderson is trying to run at him right here. But here is Russell. Russell's playing this man. He runs at him, applies the pressure, runs right through. As the shot is missed, watch what happens. This is really interesting. Keep an eye on it now. Clyde Drexler and Eddie Johnson both are flat-footed. Neither player rotated back. Anytime that a long jump shot goes up, you know that your outside perimeter people have got to rotate because it's a long three.
Eddie Johnson with a runner, fighting for the loose ball, and it goes out of bounds. An alert play by Shandon Anderson to block off Willis from trying to make a save, so it's Utah ball. John Stockton already very quietly has had that kind of a game. 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Well, he should be rebounding. He's the smallest guy on the floor, right? He should have.
Makes sense.
Right.
Here's the screen and spot up, and missed by Antoine Carr, and the rebound by Willis. The Jazz are on a 13-4 run ever since the Rockets had their biggest lead of 5, and Sedale threed on a nifty pass from Charles Barkley, and it's 31-29.
In game 1, all Houston did was stand on the outside. Tonight, they are cutting the guards through anytime Barkley or Olajuwon have the ball down on the left side of the floor, and they are open.
3 minutes to go, and we will have a foul, offensive foul against Shandon Anderson. That'll be his first.
Well, Shandon Anderson and then also Russell are the 2 high-energy guys for Utah. They both can play either the small forward or the 2-guard position.
And a lot more energy at that small forward spot than the Utah Jazz have had in recent years. Here is Barkley now double-teamed. Stockton stayed with Johnson, leaving Freed open, and Morris gets the rebound. Chris Morris into the game for the first time with Stockton, Foster, Carr, and Shandon Anderson. So Karl Malone has remained on the bench since the second quarter has started, but a foul and John Stockton. All you need is one of the 2 on the floor, I guess, at one time.
Well, it's smart what Jerry Sloan does. He always takes Stockton out after 6 minutes of playing the first quarter, so that when he comes back on the floor to start the second quarter, he's out there with 4 second-unit players in Stockton to keep things together.
John Stockton, who led the NBA in assists for 9 straight years, and it was broken this season when he finished second to Mark Jackson. Stockton, the NBA all-time assist and steals leader, makes both free throws. He has 8 points. So Malone has 10, Russell 9, Stockton 8 to lead the Jazz, who are up by 4. A little more than 3.5 minutes have elapsed here in the second quarter. Good rotation by the Utah Jazz. Willis in the paint over Carr, throws up a wild shot. Utah's defense in the half court has been terrific so far. And here is a great play by Chris Morris, who was a part-time starter last year along with David Benoit, now coming off the bench and getting a spectacular basket to give the Jazz their biggest lead of the game. Barkley muscling in against Foster, misses. Barkley 0 for 2 from the field. And spotting up and missing this time is Morris, but Foster gives the Jazz another chance. He goes outside and hits it.
Why not? He's feeling good. He helped break open this game in the second quarter in game 1, coming in and getting 9 quick points.
Timeout called by the Rockets. Utah has 10 offensive rebounds.
Now this is a nice move by Morris. You can see he played that right off the glass. Now right here, Foster takes us out to the corner, and he's saying, hey, I can knock down the 17 to 21-foot jump shot.
Foster, 9 points in game 1 on 3 for 5 shooting, and he's still finding the mark. Him on TNT.
Now just take a look at this. Without Olajuwon in there, we have 2 for 10 for Willis, Drexler, and Barkley. They have got to start picking up the slack here.
Mario Elie on the screen and roll, last touched by the Jazz, so it'll be Rockets ball with 12 seconds on the clock. The Jazz leading by 8 with 7:22 to go.
Dick, the rebounding, 27 to 9, 10 to 2 on the offensive glass for Utah.
The 10 offensive rebounds, really a backbreaker for the Rockets right now. Barkley going baseline against Foster on the push. Foster committing his second.
You can look at this if you're a Houston fan. You're getting Utah to miss. They're the #1 shooting team in this league. Keep an eye on Barkley now. He's going to blow right by Foster. And see, they catch him. They said that usually they would let that one go by. Just keep an eye on it. See, he hit it right there on the hip.
Foster is going out of the game, and Karl Malone comes back in. So the front court of Malone, Antoine Carr, and Shandon Anderson. And the Rockets still down by 8, and the Jazz trying to open up a double-digit lead with under 7 minutes to go here in the second.
The Jazz on the defensive boards have been outstanding. When you think of the low percentage that Houston is shooting, and they only have 2-second shot attempts.
Chris Morris misses the rebound by Charles Barkley. And here is Eddie Johnson with the layup too far under the basket, and now the Rockets have a 5-on-4 deficit at the other end. Chris Morris throws up the air ball, but there's Antoine Carr, and he's fouled. And once again, the Jazz punishing the Rockets, including Hakeem Olajuwon on the offensive boards.
Dick, Houston only shooting 35%. This is a major air ball. All right, and then we just good shot block by Hakeem Olajuwon. This game is so ragged at both ends of the floor, and you look up, one team with 6 minutes to go. The Rockets only have 29 points.
Want to remind you, tomorrow night coverage begins at 8 o'clock on TNT. Game 2 between the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls, who had to pull out all the stops to beat the Heat in Game 1 at the United Center last night. And the Jazz with a 10-point lead. They're on a 12-2 run as Carr made both of his free throws. So the Rockets, they can't blame the fatigue of the 7-game series in this game. They continue to struggle. Mario Elie, however, hits a 3 from the corner to cut the lead to 7.
Well, you'd like to see Elie, Matt Maloney, and also Barkley come out of the shell and start knocking down the threes. And then Clyde Drexler, who's been attempting 7 threes a game in the playoffs, they've got to start making them from the perimeter.
Elie, a 50% shooter from three-point territory in the playoffs. Here is Morris on a pass from Anderson, and Chris Morris, who played his first 7 years with the Nets but was in the playoffs 3 years. A lot of people didn't think the Nets got in the playoffs that many times.
Look, this is a guy who started for the Nets, average over 13 points a game, and here he's lucky when he gets minutes with the second unit.
5:40 to go. Barkley goes in and gets the basket as Morris goes down, and the crowd upset with the non-charging call, as you might expect with Charles Barkley right in the middle of it. Barkley, that was his first basket, by the way, of the game.
Now, keep an eye on this. Now, right now, they're looking for a flop. Eddie Rush has been around a lot of years, and he's not going to give you that. He wants that guy to run right through your chest.
Here's John Stockton with a runner in the lane, and it will drop for him. It was Hakeem Olajuwon who accused Karl Malone of flopping in what was a widely circulated story after Game 1, Hubie.
I like the statement. If you're going to be the MVP of the league, you must be legitimate. And he said there can be no flopping. Flopping is not in the rules, so it is cheating. And you don't cheat at playoff time.
Cannot argue with Hakeem, who has the rule book in his back pocket, if he had a pocket. And illegal defense called against the Utah Jazz, and that is the first violation against Utah tonight. Elie will inbound, guarded by Shandon Anderson. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Here's Mario Elie driving in and is fouled. Elie going to the line. 6 points, and will have a chance for 2 more. And the personal foul is against Anderson, his second.
This is just a very nice, strong move by Elie. And I feel as this series goes on, we're going to see Elie, Matt Maloney, and Drexler, when the ball is kicked out, when the defense is running at them, fake the 3 and take it to the glass and get to the foul line.
Jeff Hornacek will come back in the game, replacing Shandon Anderson. Hornacek scored 4 points when he was in earlier. Anderson did not score and picked up 2 personal. Elie with the free throws, and the Jazz now lead by 7.
And the pass comes out of double teams, Dick. It's easy to shoot threes, but you better make them. Houston has been struggling in the threes, so the best thing is to do is to fake the three and take it strong to the hole. Break the defense down as the defense is rotating.
Chris Morris goes around Drexler, and a good defensive play. Hakeem was a big force in there. Maloney pulls up for the three. And the rebound by Karl Malone. And the Jazz looking to push it up. Hornacek looking inside to Antoine Carr. And knocked away by Hakeem with 15 on the shot clock.
In that last transition, Houston had a 4-on-3 break. Mario Elie was wide open on the box. I was surprised that Matt Maloney forced that jump shot.
Chris Morris gets a hand as he leaves, having scored 4 points. And he's replaced by Brian Russell. There's the shooting in the quarter, and the Jazz over 50%, and the Rockets still struggling. Here is Stockton with a jumper. 7-point lead, and the Rockets trying to cut it down. Utah led by 2 after 1 quarter when we wind down to 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Here is Elie open for 3, and Mario Elie misses a wide open 3. Houston is now 1 of 5 from 3-point range. Carr misses, and there's Stockton with another rebound. And he was looking for the foul, none coming. And they're going to call a block. Charles Barkley colliding with Brian Russell, and it's Russell who picks up the first foul.
Now you're going to see Russell just cuts Barkley off here right now, because if he gets by him, there is a major advantage. And you can see that he definitely did not have position.
And the next foul by the Jazz will put them in the penalty. Greg Ostertag, who picked up 2 early fouls, comes back in at center for Utah. Ostertag defending Hakeem. Drexler misses a 3 as he continues to fire away from outside. He's 1 for 6.
I don't know why they don't go into Hakeem, and when they double team, Hakeem kicks it out every time and then just reposts Hakeem in the painted area. They can't defend him.
Karl Malone in and out on the turnaround, and still a 7-point lead for the Utah Jazz. They have gone dry scoring-wise in the last minute and a half. 11 on the shot clock. That is Russell defending against Barkley. Here comes the double team, and with 5 on the clock, Olajuwon misses, and it's saved by Brian Russell. And the timeout called by Jerry Sloan with 2:51 remaining in the half.
Throughout this entire first half, all Houston does, throw the ball into the post, 1 cutter, spot up, no continuity.
Utah Jazz have opened up the lead. They were at 2 at the quarter, now leading by 7. And Hubie, the Rockets are shooting 33% from the field, and more important, Olajuwon, Barkley, Drexler have a total of only 2 points in the game. What's wrong with Houston's offense?
Well, right now everything is stagnant. Everything is a post up on the left side of the floor or a little clear out. It's allowing the Utah Jazz to come down, set their defense, do the same rotations. Now they are trapping hard. They're forcing Olajuwon to get rid of the ball. But when he does that, if they'll just post him in the lane and come right back to him, he can break the defense down. Now you say, what's the big deal? They're shooting 33%, but how about this? They only have 2 offensive rebounds. The front line are not getting anywhere near the glass.
Jeff Hornacek giving the Jazz a 9-point lead again. They had a 10-point lead at one juncture a few minutes ago. The Rockets, you mentioned 33% for the game. Here in the second quarter, only 21% of their field goal attempts as Drexler misses a lay-in, and a foul is called against Clyde Drexler.
Now, that was a nice continuity. They ran a cutter through. They came over and set up a screen and roll with Drexler and Barkley. You had to play it perfectly. Drexler blows by his man. That's what I think we have to see a lot more of in order to keep the Utah defense from just coming down and settling in and knowing where to rotate to every time.
And the next foul by either team will result in the penalty, and an offensive foul has been called.
I tell you, in this series, have you ever seen so many guys 240 and 275 pounds be moved so easily as we're seeing tonight?
You move mountains.
Yeah, right.
Less than that in this series. Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. Hakeem short with a fall-away. Olajuwon had 10 points in the first quarter, has not scored in the second. And the Jazz looking to open up their biggest lead of the game. with 1:45 remaining in the first half. Barkley on Malone, the turnaround, and Stockton bats it out to Russell, and yet another offensive opportunity for Utah. This is game 2, best of 7 Western Finals. The Jazz have never had the home court advantage in the Western Conference Finals. They do here, and they have a 1-0 lead, and Jeff Hornacek will go to the line to shoot 2 as the Rockets are in the penalty now.
Now that's what we call a UCLA cut. Stockton made the pass, and he shuffle cut right down the lane, but Mario Elie got caught. He was on a technical foul. Ooh. Jackie Neese down inside complaining. It's probably on Clyde Drexler. He's really talking up a storm with referee Jackie Neese.
It is definitely on Clyde Drexler, Hubie, picking up a technical foul. The Rockets had 3 techs called against him in game number 1. And here's Jeff Hornacek. He misses the technical. Kevin Willis and Othello Harrington coming into the game. Harrington, the rookie from Georgetown, who scored 2 points and had 3 rebounds in the waning moments when Hakeem and Barkley left the court and went to the dressing room to get iced down. That was an early concession, so to speak, last night. Hornacek on the line, shooting. Stephen Howard coming into the game for the Utah Jazz.
Offensive rebounding, Dick, is positioning. By your continuity, spacing allows you to get to the offensive boards when one of your guys takes a shot. But you can see tonight, Houston is shooting less than 33%. The balls are missing, but their positioning and their spacing is poor, that they are not getting to the offensive glass to keep the ball alive.
And the Jazz have their biggest lead of the game with 1:19 to go in the first half. Clyde Drexler beyond the arc hits a 3. Coming up on the Nike halftime report, Suns head coach Danny Ainge joins Ernie Johnson and Reggie Theus for first half analysis and a preview of tomorrow night's second game between the Heat and the Bulls. So it's a 8-point game now. Jazz leading. Malone off the glass, and he's fouled. So Karl Malone, who has 10 points, all in the first quarter, will go to the line. And the personal foul is on Harrington, his first.
Now, once again, Utah went to a UCLA set, 3-man basketball, Hornacek, Stockton, and Malone. When they came back to the top to Malone, Malone was determined to get the jump shot or the drive.
And Malone misses the first free throw. Barkley on the bench. He has scored only 3 points. Drexler 5. So the scoring problems for Drexler and Barkley continue. Hornacek goes out of the game.
Dick, you're getting killed on the boards. You're shooting a bad percentage. You look it up, and you're only down 8.
Well, in game 1, the Rockets made several runs, and every time they came within 9 or 8 points, the Jazz put on the burners and opened up a double-digit lead to about 14 or 15.
And they're going to one-on-one Drexler here from the wing.
9-point lead for the Utah Jazz with 42.6 seconds to go and an offensive foul.
Kevin Willis
called against the Houston Rockets. Kevin Willis, his second personal foul.
Now keep it, look right in the middle of the lane. Here's Kevin Willis. He steps out. Ooh, he catches Stockton with an elbow to the left ear.
Well, the Rockets have protected the ball pretty well. That was only the second turnover for them in the game. Stockton underneath to Stephen Howard, too far under the rim. Malone trying to clean up. Harrington fighting for the loose ball, and it is a loose ball foul called against the Utah Jazz. We'll check to see who it's on, and it will be on Stephen Howard.
He's in there battling.
25.9 seconds remaining in the first half. The Jazz leading by 9, and Harrington on the free throw line. Harrington has hit 6 of 8 from the stripe in postseason.
There is no defense if someone said this is one of the ugliest halves of basketball we've seen at playoff time this year.
You would not argue with it.
I would not argue at all. And we're seeing it at both ends of the floor. We're not seeing the crispness of the Utah Jazz offense, and they're missing a lot of wide open shots. At the other end, we are just seeing a lot of ineptness by Houston, and right now you look up and they're only down 6.
Thanks to Kevin Willis, 48-42. That was only the 3rd offensive rebound of the game for the Rockets. who have been beaten badly in that statistic by the Jazz.
Houston takes care of their defensive board in the second half. Get on the offensive board, get a share of seconds. Hey, anything can happen here tonight.
Stockton misses. Time running out. Maloney's got to hurry. Puts it up, and it goes off. So the Rockets with a chance to get the score. But Rudy Tomjanovich, as you mentioned, with very little offensive continuity. Karl Malone had 11. Olajuwon 10, the leading scorers. And at the end of the first half here at the Delta Center, the Jazz lead the Rockets by a score of 48-42. Welcome back to the Delta Center here in Salt Lake City. The Utah Jazz leading the Houston Rockets by a score of 48-42. Both teams not shooting the ball well by any stretch of the imagination. Both under 40%. Big story, the Jazz with an 11 offensive rebound edge over the Rockets and an 11 rebound edge overall over the Utah Jazz. And you look at all the things that count, Hubie. You look at the fact that Barkley, Drexler aren't getting the job done. The rest of the starters after Olajuwon. Same story the Rockets faced in game one. And then you look at the scoreboard, only a 6-point deficit.
Well, you look at it this way. Olajuwon has 10 points. The other 4 starters are 6 for 20. Once again, 30%. Then you look at the other end of the field, and you see Stockton and Hornacek with 12 rebounds. Now, listen to this stat. This is staggering. Olajuwon, 0. Ellie, 0. Barkley, 5. Their front court has 5 rebounds, and Stockton and Hornacek have 12 rebounds. I would never believe it.
I would have to say that, well, how come the Utah Jazz don't have a double-digit lead now?
Well, because they're shooting so poorly. We're talking Utah Jazz, the #1 shooting team in the league at 50%, is struggling. They're shooting in the low 30s, and we're saying 30, no, not low, but 37%. They cannot make an open shot. So both teams are playing ragged. You're only down 6 if you're Houston. Please take care of your defensive board. All right, and then get some offensive rebounds and not allow them to get out in transition. It's not insurmountable. It's an easy thing to correct.
And of course, what Hakeem Olajuwon must be saying is that will somebody somewhere help me? To 30 points in game one with those impressive numbers. He has 10 points on 4 for 9 shooting. Has only gone to the line 3 times, but no rebounds for Hakeem Olajuwon. An amazing story about the rebounding. Right now, let's go to Brian Burwell.
Dick, that's exactly what was being discussed in the Houston locker room. Rudy T said, no offensive rebounds. No offensive rebounds. And he repeated that. So, I mean, when you look at that stat sheet, it's glaring. Now, over with Utah, Jerry Sloan was concerned that his guys were trying to blow them out and they weren't being patient. He said, calm down and let's try to take this thing. If there's a good shot, take it, but let's not rush things. Back to you at courtside.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. And of course, Hubie mentioned the Utah Jazz not shooting well. They only shot 44% in game one, not shooting as well in this game, shooting 38%. And here's a team that led the NBA, shooting 50% in the regular season. Looking at the Jazz big three of Malone, Stockton, and Hornacek, and they've got more impressive numbers.
The reason why this is so staggering, I know if you're out there, you're probably saying, geez, will you guys get off of this offensive, defensive rebound? Now, let me tell you, Houston finished 82 games this year as the #1 defensive rebounding team in this league. That's why this stat in game one and again tonight is so overwhelming that it's so hard to believe that with Olajuwon and Barkley and Kevin Willis and their roadrunner guys that they are being out-rebounded by 23 rebounds at halftime.
And obviously you can't hammer it enough because that's what Rudy T told his team, according to Brian Burwell in the halftime intermission. There's a clock problem, and that is why we have a delay, and if the clock is above the basket to our left right now. And while we have a moment, we'll show you the scoring leaders, starting with the Rockets, and Hakeem leading the way with 10 points. And keep in mind that he did not score in the second quarter. All of his points came in the first. Mario Ellie has 8, including a 3, and Clyde Drexler has a 3 as well. For the Utah Jazz, they have 2 players in double figures, and they're going to get 4 before it's all over for sure. Karl Malone with 11, John Stockton 10, and Brian Russell 9, and Hornacek 8. Good balance there. Morris gave him some points off the bench, as did Antoine Carr. And they're going to go with the 1 clock. They took the portables away, and they will call out 10 seconds and 5 seconds remaining. So you remember those days.
Yeah, you sure do. And you know what? It's at the Houston basket. So, I mean, at the Utah Jazz basket. So that's fine.
All right, underway. Matt Maloney with Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and Mario Elie. Here is Olajuwon. Did not score in the second quarter, but scores to start the third, and it's a 4-point Utah lead. Jazz with Stockton, along with Hornacek, Brian Russell, Ostertag, and Karl Malone up front. Here is Stockton off the screen. Maloney staying with him. Here is Ostertag. Off balance, blocked by Olajuwon, and it's out of bounds. It'll be Houston ball. That's the third blocked shot by Hakeem. Very slow. Never a losing year. Playoffs in all of the 9 years as head coach of the Jazz. Drexler measuring Brian Russell. 8 on the shot clock. And Olajuwon. This is from outside. So the Rockets forced to take an outside shot. Russell looking low to Malone. Turnaround over Barkley. He's 6'9", and Barkley 6'4", and has a good look.
Anytime that he wants to throw the fadeaway, it's impossible for Charles, first of all, to even get up and put the pressure because he shoots it from such an angle. No way that Charles can really affect it.
Here's the double on Barkley, and here is Mario Elie. The Jazz doing a very good job of rotating against the double thus far. Olajuwon knocked away, and it'll be Houston's ball with 6 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, Stockton, Hornacek, and Russell do a terrific job being pesty, and that means they get down inside, they double, and then they rotate from different angles, and they change up the rotations.
Elie off balance, trying to draw the foul, and he did just that. Jeff Hornacek with his third personal foul, and he's the first player to pick up 3 in the game.
Well, Mario Elie has been active from an offensive standpoint. You can see Hornacek gets him here. During the course of the year, Elie just had a fantastic year shooting on the foul line. He was 5th in the league at 89%, and then he was 9th in threes, where he shot 42%.
84% of the playoffs from the line. And he is 5 for 6 from the stripe in this game. And the Jazz lead again is 4 points. They led by 6 at the half and 2 after 1 quarter. But at one time, the Utah had an 11-point lead in the second period. Stockton finds an open to Brian Russell, and a long rebound on the missed 3.
Houston did a nice job that time. In their rotations, they brought the wingman from the other side of the floor to cover Stockton at the top of the circle.
Here's Barkley, and the double comes fast. And here is Drexler going to the hoop. Blocked by Ostertag. Elie gets the rebound. Olajuwon open. And the rebound by Barkley. He gets another chance and a foul. Well, that is the first time tonight we have seen persistent offensive rebounding by the Rockets.
They just had 3. They only had 3 in the entire first half. So that was nice to see. Very encouraging. You know, you can see it right here. Ostertag is averaging over 3.5 blocks in the playoffs. Here he comes. Long arms, and he anticipates well.
John Stockton called for his second personal foul. Charles Barkley, 34 years old, offered no excuses. A lot of people said that the fatigue of playing the 7-game series, Barkley dismissed that. He says, we played bad, and I was the leader of the pack. Little more than 2 minutes gone by. Barkley converts 1. And the lead for the Jazz is 3, 50-47. Now remember, the shot clock is off on this end. Hornacek puts it up and is fouled by Elie. That'll be a 2-shot foul. It was right at the arc. So 2 shots coming up for Jeff Hornacek.
That was a very pretty play. They ran what we call a nice cut on the left side of the floor. And then when you thought that they were screening across the lane to set up Malone in the post, they ran a blind pick opposite the foul line on the opposite for Hornacek. It was beautiful.
Hornacek, 6 years with the Phoenix Suns, traded to the Philadelphia 76ers for Charles Barkley, and now going against Sir Charles here in the Western Conference Finals. got them both, and a 5-point Utah lead.
If you're a guard with Utah, you have to sacrifice your body because you're on so many screens, and then they ask you to also rebound.
Ball knocked away, last touch by the Jazz. 13 on the shot clock for the Rockets. Their leading scorer, Olajuwon with 12. Mario Elie has 10.
Plenty of time here.
Here's Barkley, and again Stockton doubling down, and Maloney did not have anyone to go with, and here come the Jazz, and Brian Russell beating Drexler to the basket. No basket. Traveling is the call against Brian Russell.
Yeah,
it looked too easy for him.
No, it was a very difficult catch. It was a difficult catch for Russell, and he lost his balance. You gotta see, the ball is too high from right here. See, he tried to get it there, and it's a 1-2-3. See, and that you cannot do. You get a 1-2 count.
Hakeem, single covered by Ostertag. Here's Elie. Good ball movement by the Rockets, but Elie can't convert for 3. And the Jazz coming back up by 5. And Stockton going strong to the basket. And will go to the line. Very nearly had a chance for a 3-point play as he's fouled by Maloney.
In this series, John Stockton in the open floor challenges Maloney every time in transition. He will get it. He'll level off. He'll take a look. No one is open. He will just continue into transition and attack the basket.
John Stockton has never had a triple-double in his NBA career, either in the regular season or the playoffs, and Ernie Johnson alluded to it during the halftime. He now has 11 points. He has 8 rebounds and 6 assists. So you know he's going to get the assists. So he could be on his way to his first. 2 free throws, and the Jazz lead by 7. And the Rockets having to play from a deficit as they did throughout virtually the entire game 1 on Monday. Barkley setting the screen, but Brian Russell stays with Drexler, who makes a fine move to the hoop.
Well, there was a lot of nice continuity movement there. It ended up in a screen and roll with Barkley. Anytime Drexler gets a step on you coming off, he can score in this series.
7 points for Clyde, and Stockton driving. Ostertag comes in and fouled. Ostertag will go to the line, and Hakeem Olajuwon picking up his 3rd personal foul.
Now keep an eye right here on the screen and roll. Watch at the top of your screen. As soon as Drexler comes over the top, if he gets a half a step, he has such excitement and explosiveness he can finish. Right here, keep an eye to the right of the screen. Here comes Ostertag, and then Hakeem just did not elevate. He tried to bump him out.
First free throws of the game for Ostertag, believe it or not, as Hakeem stays in the game with 3 fouls. Greg Ostertag, over 7 feet tall, has attempted only 7 free throws in the entire playoff.
Well, he's not involved in any of the offensive sets, so he has to get everything on the offensive board or moving without the ball. But during the year, Dick, 7 points, 7 rebounds, 2 block shots a game, and he is a presence in the lane.
No question about that. Drexler eyes screen and roll to Barkley, who gets the basket. And the Rockets trail by 5. Nearly 4 minutes gone by here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it's nice to see them now. They're showing you more of their repertoire offensively other than just power basketball.
Stockton looking inside. 10 seconds as the announcement has to come from the public address system because the clock is out. And then in Karl Malone with a turnaround, now with 15 points to go along with 11 rebounds. Remember, he had 21 points. And a lot of people expected Malone to score more than that in this game. Here is Olajuwon against Ostertag, and Hakeem now with 14. So Olajuwon, Barkley, and Drexler getting more into the scoring here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it's nice to see because they're showing you more opportunities, more continuity, more ball movement.
And Malone fouled in the lane. Karl Malone asserting himself offensively, and the foul is against Barkley. He picks up his 3rd.
Now keep an eye on Barkley setting the screen. Drexler sees the defense. Nice drop-off pass, and then sheer upper body strength. Charles Barkley muscling that in. Now this is Malone right here. See this right in this series, Malone shooting over Barkley. He can get it anytime he wants. It's a lot like in the Chicago series. Anytime that Michael Jordan posts up in a triangle, you know, they get it off before the double team, and because they have a height advantage on the guy playing them, and they throw that fade away, there is nothing you can do about it. Now it's up to them whether they make the shot or miss the shot.
And of course, Barkley has a disadvantage shooting at his end because of the height disadvantage. And of course, he has waited a lot for the double team to come, so he has passed the ball out. Malone, making one free throw, has 16 points in the game, and the Jazz are up by 6. This is game 2, best of 7. The Jazz won game 1, 101-86. Drexler for 3, and he's got it. So Drexler, Barkley, and Olajuwon certainly coming up bigger here in the second half. Drexler in double figures, 2 from downtown.
Anytime you pass out of the double team, you try to make 2 passes. 1 pass against bad defenses, you're open. But when you play good defensive teams, the second pass will open up the shot.
And a timeout called by Jerry Sloan as the Jazz lead is cut to 3. Enthusiastic fans of all ages here at the Delta Center. Wilford Brimley, a Jazz fan in the stands, and they're trying to hope that this team gets to the NBA Finals for the first time. Mark Eaton, who is a big force in another era.
One of the greatest defensive centers we've ever had in the game. Right up there in shot blocking with the best who have ever played.
Houston's big 3. You saw Bill Cartwright scouting for the Chicago Bulls. John Stockton hits the jumper. So following the timeout, Stockton now with 14 points. He and Malone combined for 30 of the Jazz 61.
Nice.
Tipped away by Malone, and it's last touch by the Jazz.
That was an attempted screen across the lane for Barkley, and instead of coming to the ball, Barkley changed direction. They almost made a pinpoint pass.
The Rockets' big 3 of Olajuwon, Drexler, and Barkley have scored 12 of their 14 points here in this third quarter. And now they had 2 more for Hakeem, who has 16 points. So Hakeem, who had 30 in game 1, brings the Rockets to within 5.
Well, you know, their fans have been waiting for this. They've been waiting for the explosion.
And they have awakened in the second half of game 2. Here is Hornacek, unable to shoot over Ellie. Ellie, a very fine defender. There was the 10 seconds, and Hornacek going inside the feed. Ostertag travels. Greg Ostertag, and again, 7-2, and Jerry Sloan appealing to Ed Rush.
Jerry Sloan is challenging the travel call. Now keep an eye on him right there. Now he misses that one, and that was a loose ball, and I agree with Jerry Sloan. You know, they all want to travel, but he went up. Right? The ball hit the backboard and the rim, part of the rim, so you can't say that he went up and came down with the ball.
Under 6 minutes to go in the third. Olajuwon, this is a very difficult turnaround. Looking for the foul, none called. Here is Stockton, goes low to Malone. Malone goes up and gets the basket. And now Malone's complaining. You're right, everyone is claiming their foul. Sure. You know what? I think I'm getting fouled.
Yeah, but in the NBA at playoff time, there are 10 fouls on every play. Come on, the referees have got to decide what's the foul tonight.
Gets a little tighter. 10 on the shot clock for Drexler. Up and under. Oh, goaltending called against Ostertag. And give the basket to Clyde Drexler, who has 7 of his 12 here in the third.
Now, the people in the building are all upset, but that ball hit the backboard. That's the reason why the call was made. And you cannot take the ball as it ricochets off the board. That was a bad percentage shot by Drexler, and Ostertag never should have even attempted it. That ball had no prayer of going in.
So it's a 3-point game again. The Jazz lead. 10 on the shot clock. John Stockton looking up and seeing no 24-second clock, but he heard it from the PA announcer. Jeff Hornacek with his first from downtown. He was 1 for 3 from that range, and it's 66-60.
See, the test right now for Houston from now to the end of the game is the rotations. You cannot allow fatigue to enter in here.
And Drexler hits the long-range basket, so 3 for Drexler. That is his 3rd of the game. Randy Livingston cheering on his teammates, and the Jazz lead down to 3. Ellie on Hornacek, feeding Stockton, who makes a great move, beating Maloney to the basket.
Yeah, that was three-man basketball. That's that UCLA cut. Pass to the wing. Cut off that high post back screen. Once again, Stockton runs it beautifully. He got inside of Maloney.
And here is Ellie trying to go to Barkley on a blind pass picked off by Hornacek. And the Jazz up by 5.
Hornacek's everywhere, Dick. He's made some great defensive plays.
Here's Ostertag. Oh, and he misses his stuff.
Hold on, Jackie Neese right now blew the whistle, and it's going to be interesting what the call is. Offensive interference, okay.
And it was on Ostertag.
Yeah, now just keep an eye. This is a nice pass right into Stockton coming off that UCLA back screen. Ostertag has got to score. I mean,
he's his own worst enemy.
You got to send these down with some strength. You're 0 for 5, and no shot is outside of 3 feet. I would like to show you the UCLA cut. Now keep an eye on Stockton with the ball. He's going to pass the ball to Hornacek stepping out. This is three-man basketball. Now you see the back screen. Now, why is Stockton cutting that way? Because Maloney is giving him that side. He can cut either side off of this back screen. Now just watch the cut. Now, Hornacek gets this bullet right in there because Maloney is trailing. Olajuwon gave no help at all. Now, in that cut, you can lay off of Ostertag, help out the guard, and put the pressure on Ostertag if they go back to the top to make that shot.
Howard Isley replaces John Stockton, who goes out with 16 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. And I'm glad you explained the UCLA cut because I would have had to go to your next clinic.
No, come on.
If you hadn't done that in this game.
Now, mainly because they use it about 15 times a game.
Mario Ellie.
Nice.
And it was Ostertag who got a piece. Barkley. And it is a basket, I believe. It counts.
Counts. Good play. Nice play and a strong move by Barkley. Now keep an eye on Ellie as he goes down inside here. Hornacek right up in there. There's your block, just on the tips up. Now watch what happens. Ostertag is trying to clear out, and then Barkley picks it up. Now just watch, keep from the right of your screen. Look at that long reach. He gets a piece of it, and then Barkley just makes a nice move here. That is good, strong upper body strength.
Isley with a reach in. And Barkley now with 9 points. Though all the big three of the Rockets have scored 22 points this quarter after 18 in the entire first half, and it is a 2-point Utah lead.
No second shot attempts in this quarter for Utah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, well, it's amazing.
Hornacek with a runner from the baseline. But don't think coming close means you're going to take the lead, not against this Utah team, because they know how to spread it out again.
Well, they shoot so well. And Hornacek and Stockton can make off-balance running shots.
Sedale Threed in the game as the backup point guard, matching Isley's replacement of John Stockton. And now the Jazz with a 4-point lead and the ball as we wind down to 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Here is Brian Russell, goes behind. Wide open is Isley, and he's got it. Howard Isley with his first bucket of the game.
See, you gotta like it. Isley comes in. He's a 44% shooter in threes during the playoffs, but he is not bashful.
Kevin Willis in the game with a hook. Malone getting the position over Charles Barkley. 13 rebounds for Karl Malone.
Come on, you got an advantage here. You got it because Barkley flopped.
Foster hitting from inside the arc. A 2-point basket for Greg Foster, and a timeout just when the Utah Jazz got threatened, or the Jazz turned it on.
Now, well, Barkley just flopped in the backcourt as he bumped into Russell. And by flopping, we're going to show it to you right here. Now, you see, you can't do this at playoff time. Just watch what happens as the ball is cleared. Keep an eye on Barkley. Now, just watch. See, he bumps it, so he falls down. Now, you say, oh, well, you didn't get it. You're on the road. You're not getting that call. That was a definite flop. And what happens? You're a man short up here. Your front court guys are at a disadvantage, and it opened up that corner shot for Boston.
Wait a second. Elijah once said flopping is not part of the game. Did he not tell Charles this?
Well, I don't know if Charles read the Houston Chronicle. Now, if he read the Houston Chronicle, he would have heard about that.
It might not have flopped.
There you go.
7 straight points in the last minute by the Utah Jazz, and what was a 2-point game is now a 9-point Utah lead with 2:26 remaining in the third quarter. And the crowd very much in this game. Western Conference Finals. Jazz have never gotten there.
Look out.
And Drexler turned it over, lost it into the hands of Russell, who lays it in.
That's the way to do it. Right into his chest. In the NBA, you'll never get that call. That charge by Ellie, excuse me, Dick, he was underneath the rim. You'll never get that call.
Barkley is fouled, and right now the Jazz, in a hurry, after the lead cut to 2, have matched their biggest lead of the game at 11.
Well, Drexler fumbles the ball right here. Quickness by Russell. He sees he has a 2-on-1, but he cannot make the pass. Now watch. See, you love that. That's taking it strong. High school and college, you probably would have gotten a charge call.
Next foul by either team will put them in the penalty. Here is Barkley working against Malone. And it out of bounds, last touched by the Jazz as Malone giving Greg Foster a shove, and this team is roused right now.
Well, remember we said in game 1, Barkley was 3 for 10. He had difficulty shooting up over the top of Karl Malone, and the same thing again tonight.
Here is Drexler missing a 3, and a loose ball foul called, and a technical against Karl Malone.
Yeah, Jimmy Clark, he's had enough for Karl Malone. See, Karl has been complaining, you know, since we were in the warm-ups, okay? So he said, hey, okay, I fouled him because I was watching him. He said, I fouled him, but you got to give me the call on the play before that when Barkley knocked me down on the floor. And Clark just said, that's enough. Boom, technical.
And Malone is still jawing at Jimmy Clark. Picked up his second personal and the tee. Ellie makes the technical foul.
Now, right now this was, we had Foster and Malone helping out on that shot block. Now, right there, you see Kevin Willis knock Karl Malone to the floor. That's what he was upset about. Barkley had inside, and Karl pushed him on that rebound. See, you can see right now, he said, I want that other call.
And Barkley misses the first free throw as the Jazz in the penalty right now. That was the first technical foul called on the Jazz in this young series. Barkley 3 of 6 from the free throw line. So he has struggled from there as well. He makes the free throw, and the lead is 9. The Jazz up with 1:41 remaining in the third quarter, trying to make it 2 in a row at home to start this Western Conference final. Howard Isley off a Malone screen hits. Isley with 5 points here in the third.
Isley reads the screen and rolls beautifully. He's not in a hurry. He takes his time, and if you go under, he steps back off that dribble, and he has a very soft shot.
Here's Barkley now working against Malone, and this rivalry heating up, and the block by Ostertag. And the block shot can really spark a team. Here is Foster going to the basket, lays it in, and the Utah bench again doing a number on the Houston Rockets. And the biggest lead of the game right now for Utah.
On one end, Foster blocks another shot. That's his second block in the last 2 minutes, and then he finishes.
Under a minute to go, 42 seconds to go, and the ball knocked away. Last touched by the Jazz, who have hit 11 of their last 12 shots.
Now watch Foster come right in here now. See, Foster and Ostertag are doing a terrific job. Now he goes right to the opposite corner, and he got the ball and had himself a nice stride to the hole.
And the Rockets with a couple of layup opportunities lose it out of bounds. And this crowd is at a fevered pitch right now with a half a minute remaining in the third quarter. The Rockets got it down to a 2-point game. But right now the Jazz up by their biggest margin, 13 points. Howard Isley, and he's fouled driving to the hoop.
If you notice, once again, Isley just took his time, read the defense, and got himself a foul. Now here we're going to show you that same play. Foster gets the block. He's happy. He runs down to the right-hand corner, and you're going to see he opens up. Now once he gets it, a nice head fake, and he's taking it strong to the basket.
And you're right, it was Foster at both ends of the floor. What a big contribution he has given the Jazz in this series so far. Right now, let's take a look at tonight's GMC scoreboard. Last evening, the Bulls took a 1-0 lead over the Heat. Game 2 tomorrow night on TNT. Coverage begins at 8 o'clock, and stay tuned for Inside the NBA coming up next.
Well, you look at their bench again tonight, Vic. You hit the nail right on the head. Foster, Isley, Shandon Anderson. You know, once again, making heavy contributions.
22 points off the bench, Hubie.
Dick, their half-court defense in the last 5 minutes has been outstanding.
Final seconds of the third quarter. Barkley with a difficult turnaround. And time runs out. And listen to the hand by the Delta Center crowd. Three, the Jazz lead big, 83-68.
This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the National Basketball Association. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the expressed written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
And welcome back to the 1997 NBA playoffs here on TNT. Here at the Delta Center, they're still on their feet as a big third quarter as the Jazz outscored the Rockets 35-26 to take an 83-68 lead as the Rockets missed its last 9 shots in the third quarter.
Well, you look at it, Dick, the Jazz shot 75% in the quarter. So for the game, Houston, 35%, Utah, 47%. The rebounds, Utah still dominating. 49-23. That's a difference of 26 boards.
Still trying to work on the clock, which has been out in the second half. And the public address announcer has announced 10 seconds and 5 for the 24-second clock. It does not seem to affect the Utah Jazz at all in that third quarter.
No, mainly because they've been running in transition the entire quarter, Dick. And this is when they're at their best. You know, when you think of, there are only 3 teams in this league who won 60 games. You know, we have Chicago at 69, Utah at 64, and Miami at 61. But then you say, well, who are the best offense-defensive teams? Well, Chicago was first in the league with a differential of 10.9. Well, the second best differential team in this league was Utah at 8.8. That's a combination of your beautiful execution of your offense, 2 different styles, the triangle in Chicago, and many different types of sets here in Utah, but they both defend.
Malone, Stockton, and Hornacek in double figures. Malone has 13 rebounds, and Stockton has 8. We referred to the guards rebounding. And as UB mentioned, physical guards take punishment, setting those back screens. 14 rebounds between Stockton and Hornacek. Dick Stockton, Hubie Brown, Brian Burwell, our statistician Marty Aronoff here at the Delta Center, waiting to get underway for the fourth quarter. And want to remind you that Inside the NBA will come right up after this game is over. And then tomorrow on TNT, our coverage begins at 8 o'clock. Game 2 between the Heat and the Bulls. And then Friday on TNT here, coverage begins at 8 o'clock for Game 3 as the scene shifts to the Summit in Houston as the Jazz and Rockets go to Game 3. And the Jazz well on their way at this point. The way they're playing, not so much the score, you can come back from that deficit, but the way they're playing indicates they may be headed for Houston with a 2-0 lead in the series. Let's go to Brian Burwell.
Okay, Dick, during that break, Karl Malone was applying a medicated pad to that sore area on his hand because it is getting very red and it does hurt him a lot. Back to you.
Well, he's got 18 points, Karl Malone does, 13 rebounds, and is playing another outstanding game.
Well, the team with the best road record in the West is Houston. They were 27-14, the best road record. You're not going to count them out. They're only down 15. You got 12 minutes to go. They've got good 3-point shooters. Let's see if they can get it together at the defensive end.
John Stockton with his 18th point of the game. In fact, only the Lakers and the Celtics have a better road playoff record ever in the NBA than the Houston Rockets, so they know how to win away from home. But winning here is another story. Olajuwon with a turnaround, and Hakeem with 18. Olajuwon with 18 leads 4 double-figure scores for the Rockets. Malone with 18 leads 4 for the Jazz.
The big thing right now, they got to start showing some defense.
Shandon Anderson fouled and hitting the floor hard. And will go to the line to shoot two.
Now on that post up, Houston fronted, and Anderson just held his man. Look at it right here. A nice pass. Watch from the left of your screen. There's the rotator. Too late.
So Shandon Anderson, who was the 54th pick in the draft, and the younger brother of Willie Anderson, who's playing with the Miami Heat in the series with the Chicago Bulls, scored 11 points on 5 for 7 shooting in game 1. Those are his numbers throughout the playoffs.
He makes things happen, Dick. He makes things happen. He's a garbage man. Gets all the loose balls. He plays the passing lanes. He's out on the break, and he can finish.
17-point lead. And Olajuwon going in.
Carr has something to say to Olajuwon, because Olajuwon popped him right in the face. And Carr is absolutely right. Now watch us. We're going to show it to you. Olajuwon staggers in here now into the lane. Now you could say, well, Carr's riding his back. Now watch what happens. He goes, bam.
Right here.
Yeah, right in the face.
Good
Okay.
right.
Yes, he did. Now keep an eye on it now. Boom. Yeah, he caught him. See, and Carr has no doubt about it. You got to let him know about it.
Completed a minute here of the fourth quarter. Long uphill climb for the Houston Rockets. Clyde Drexler throws up the air ball on the three.
The defense by Utah in the three-point shooting in games 1 and 2 has been terrific, Dick. Very seldom do they get a wide-open shot that you might see during the season. They are running at people, and they are forcing them to not get a clean look.
There's the three-point shooting thus far in this game. And Brian Russell misses a three. Barkley the rebound.
Easy, fellas.
Sedale Threet with Ellie, Barkley, Drexler, and Olajuwon for the Houston Rockets. Here's Mario Ellie for three.
In this series so far, Houston gets very few easy points. No second shots, no transition fast breaks. They're just not getting the ball out, and no quickness.
They're not making the threes when they double inside. 11 for 36 so far in the series for three-point range. John Stockton with another jumper, and he'll have that all night.
Well, we've been showing that to you in game 1 and again tonight. You cannot continue to hug the defensive man who is playing the screener, because Stockton will be open every single time in the middle of the floor.
And here is tonight's Dutch boy in the paint. The Utah Jazz dominating the offensive glass 15-9. And it's Karl Malone again with the edge over Charles Barkley, who's only 3 for 9 from the field. Hubie?
Well, we'd like to show you the screen, Royal. Now just keep an eye on this right here. Foster is setting the screen to the right. Barkley is hugging Foster so that after Stockton goes past him, that he cannot spot up for an outside shot. Well, if that is so, watch what happens. The defender follows. Well, hold it right there. Now, if you hug Foster and you follow Stockton, John Stockton will be open all night long at that foul line, and he has been, and it's just like shooting ducks in a barrel for John Stockton.
Essence of this game, the Rockets cut the Jazz lead to 68-66 with 3:44 left in the third. Since then, Utah has outscored Houston by that number 21-4. And that is the game in a nutshell. Here is Olajuwon working inside, and the basket for Hakeem. Hakeem, again, not quite a one-man warrior, but 20 points doing it again tonight.
Yeah, he's getting it because he has a major mismatch, Dick. And if he just splits the double teams, he's always going to get a shot down in there.
Greg Foster posting up against Charles Barkley. And the turnover. Pass thrown behind Ellie, so it was no easy chance that time for Houston.
No, it doesn't matter. They're slow on the break. They just cannot seem to get anything easy.
Barkley with a tough layup. Charles with 12 points. And Drexler with 15. Both of them have awakened a little bit more in the third quarter than they did so far in the series.
There's a back screen on Carr coming to a screen and roll.
Brian Russell at the top. Stockton fakes the pass to Russell, and he can't save it. Stockton had a shot, instead tried to go to Russell.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that he did that. Now watch Charles muscle this one in. He gets hit on this, but he just muscles it right in.
89-74, the Jazz in front. Here is Hakeem working against Antoine Carr. Tough shot that time, but it's batted out by Ellie. And a new clock for the Rockets. Maloney again going to Olajuwon. And an offensive foul, and a good one against Hakeem. That is 4 personals on Olajuwon.
And what happened there was Carr has been riding him in his back, and he feels it. All post guys want to know where the defense. Now watch Carr step back. See, first he took the contact off him. Hakeem then goes right into him right there. Definite offensive foul. Nice move. Nice defensive play by Antoine Carr.
Karl Malone at the top. He's got Russell, Carr, Stockton, and Shandon Anderson. And the missed shot and the first rebound for Olajuwon. Believe it or not, Hakeem gets his first rebound after 4 minutes are gone in the 4th quarter. And a foul against Malone, holding, and Malone picks up his third.
See, Dick, the rebounding factor here is so staggering. When you say Hakeem Olajuwon just got his first rebound with 8 minutes to go in the game, Ellie has very few up front. Kevin Willis is limited, and Barkley does not have double-figure rebounds. They are being just demolished at both ends of the floor on the glass.
Here is Barkley with a baseline jumper and a foul. Charles Barkley, and the foul against Malone. He picks up 2 in a hurry. So Karl Malone now with 4 personal fouls.
Now this is just a nice strong move by Charles. He's in a little bit of a rhythm here offensively. As he steps in, he jumps back away from Malone. Gets you might call it a ticky-tack foul, except for one thing. He got hit right in front of the referee, so you know it's going to be called.
Jeff Hornacek checked in for the Utah Jazz. And Barkley with the 3-point play, and it's a 12-point Utah lead.
Once again, here they come. Let's see if they can sustain it.
7-0 run by the visiting Rockets. They've been a tough road club all year. Malone quickly goes up, and the foul inside.
That was a beautiful screen. John Stockton cut off the pick, went right down to the lane, came across the lane, and back screened Malone's man. And if you notice, Malone is catching the ball a step in front of the basket. And that's great, because then he has the defense right on his back.
Barkley has 4 fouls. Olajuwon has 4. And Karl Malone 4 of 6 from the free throw line.
Now keep an eye on this cut. John Stockton cuts down through. Now he goes across, sets a screen. Now see where Malone is? He's in the paint. See, don't go out of the lane when you know you have a major advantage on the defense. Stop shortly, keep the defense on your back.
The NBA's MVP, and the oldest at age 33, gets 1 free throw and has 19 points. Stockton with 20 leads the Jazz, who are up by 13 here in the 4th. Hornacek guarding Ellie. And here is Hakeem, and he is fouled. So no question as to what the Houston offensive strategy is, and Antoine Carr with his 3rd.
Yeah, I always like when you get a player like Hakeem who has so many moves. He can come into the lane, he can drop step, go baseline, he can throw the fadeaway. And people say, keep him out of the lane. I will stop him.
Yeah.
Like it's easy.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. He's 7 foot, he's made out of steel, and Antoine Carr is doing everything he can with his upper body strength, and Hakeem is tossing him aside like he's a feather.
Hakeem Olajuwon with 5 free throw attempts tonight, and as you saw, 1 rebound. His all-time playoff low is 4. And 90-78, 12-point lead. Stockton double team, and Malone shooting over Barkley, and again he can see very well over Charles Barkley. Malone now with 21.
Been watching John Stockton closely. He's had a number of wide open shots, but he's moving the ball around to all of the other people.
Here's Clyde Drexler, and he is short on the 3-point attempt. Rebound into the hands of Stockton, who needs only 2 rebounds for his first career triple-double. Malone on the turnaround Drexler clears. 6:44 on the clock here in the fourth quarter. The Jazz in front, 92-78. And Drexler misses. Houston squandering opportunities here. And
yeah, Jerry Sloan's calling a play. He told John, take it back out, high screen and roll. Malone and Stockton.
And Maloney stays with Stockton. Now they go inside baseline. Stockton with 5 seconds. Shandon Anderson misses. Antoine Carr follows. And look at Anderson. So right about his energy here.
Tonight, without a doubt, no exaggeration, Utah has missed 10 layups. Layups meaning shots within 3 feet of the basket.
12 on the shot clock. And a foul. 2-shot foul coming up against the Rockets. A timeout will be called right now.
Yeah,
Let's take a look at the foul.
Yeah, they're calling this on Barkley. Now keep an eye on Stockton cutting across the lane right here. Now watch Barkley come across.
Flagrant foul.
Yeah, and he gets a flagrant foul. Wow.
And 5 on Charles Barkley. On TNT.
Now you see Barkley, he's looking at the Houston replay on video. That's Calvin Murphy showing it to him. They called a flagrant foul, 2 foul shots for Stockton, and the ball on the side. Now, you know, we talk about playoff teams winning when you have 2 titans, especially at this time. And we always say, you got to get the easy points. You only get easy points on second shots. Well, Houston's not doing that. And on fast breaks. Tonight, Houston has 2 fast break points tonight, 7 in the 2 games.
And shooting 37% in the series. And that's what they shot against the Jazz in the regular season in the 4 games. Hakeem got a hand on it. Former goalie in soccer's got good hands. We've known that for years. Barkley drives down the middle, foul, and Charles will go to the line. 5:34 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, people are squaring off right now, and there's a lot of words between Malone and Olajuwon, and that's why Olajuwon made that statement about Karl Malone, about flopping in Game 1. But you can see people are getting in people's faces, and it's all due to frustration. Houston, a very frustrated team. Utah getting better looks at the basket, higher percentage shots at the Houston end of the floor. Everything is a struggle.
Hornacek with his 4th personal foul. Barkley, 15 points and 10 rebounds. Has come on in the second half after a very quiet first half and first game.
We're sitting here with 5:34 to go, Dick. Utah Jazz have 94 points. You know, during the season, 4 games, they only averaged 91 points in 4 games.
This second free throw, Malone looking for the loose ball into the hands of Shandon Anderson. He is going to be quite a player for this club. And if you think of all it is of veteran players, they got some good young ones in Russell and Anderson to name too. Not to mention Ostertag, who's only in his 2nd year. So this team has a definite future. 5 on the shot clock, which is off on the left end where the Jazz is shooting. Hornacek, and a great play. It was Stockton who found the cutter. Hornacek for the basket.
That was a great pass. He threw that one right around his man. That was just gorgeous.
11 assists for John Stockton, the NBA's all-time assist leader. Under 5 minutes remaining. And once again, the Rockets look weary, and the Jazz are making them look that way tonight. Maloney for 3, and he's got it. Matt Maloney now with 8 points. 14-point lead by the Jazz. And weren't we here the other night at this point?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, when you play Utah, they wear you down defensively. You have got to pay attention here.
Here's Stockton off the screen. Malone tips it into the hands of Barkley.
You're consistently fighting through screens, a lot of physical contact.
Barkley, he misses a 3, gets the rebound, wide open Maloney. Stockton rushes at him. Looks like the Rockets are settling for perimeter shots right now. Drexler, and the rebound, and it was Malone and Carr went after it, allowing Olajuwon to pick up the loose ball, swatted away by Carr, Antoine Carr with another block. You can't say enough about the Jazz half-court defense tonight.
Nah, their defense is great. The bench has been terrific.
And Malone gets fouled.
Once again, they front a post-up player for Utah. They clear out the backside. Nice lob. Keep to look to the right side of the floor. Hornacek's man loses him. How about this pass from Stockton? Just great. Once again, offside movement. Beautiful.
And Carr getting a piece of it, and Charles Barkley is fouled out of the game, picking up his 6th. Barkley fouls out, having scored 16 points and getting 12 rebounds. But a rough night trying to defend Karl Malone and score against the mailman who hits the first.
Now see what happens. They front. Drexler fronts, and as they lob over the top, here comes Barkley down, and he definitely gets them. Piggybacking and then a hammer throw on the arm.
Second one falls off for the mailman. And a timeout called by the Rockets. They're down by 15. Back here at the Delta Center, the Jazz leading 97-82 and keeping the Rockets at bay in impressive fashion. Charles Barkley fouled out moments ago, and let's take a look at how that matchup went tonight so far.
Well, you can see Malone has them 22-16. With the field goals, you can see Malone has attempted 6 more. Both fellas are 6 for 10 at the foul line tonight, and the rebound is almost the wash because Barkley has missed more minutes due to foul trouble tonight.
Here's Hakeem. Willis came in for Barkley when he fouled out, and Olajuwon now with 23 points. So again, Olajuwon leading scorer with 23. Barkley fouled out with 16. Drexler with 15. Here's the traffic court.
Yeah, first time we've seen it tonight.
3:19 to go in the 4th, and Malone shooting over Willis. Drexler clears, and the Rockets,
as crazy as it sounds, you make a 3 right now, you're only 10 down.
And Willis, this is from baseline. Olajuwon with the offensive rebound. 3 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. Rockets trying to give the Jazz a threat and try to draw even in this series. A long uphill climb, and Hakeem will go to the free throw line.
In game 1, Hakeem wore the defenders out by turning to the baseline. Tonight, this is one of the rare times that he gets fouled, and he has very few field goals turning to the baseline.
Foul is on Carr, his 4th. Want to remind you, Inside the NBA coming up after our game, and tomorrow at 8 o'clock, coverage begins on TNT. Game 2 from the United Center between the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls. One free throw for Hakeem, but the Rockets get the ball again.
They catch Antoine Carr. His man was above the circle, and Antoine has to stay above the foul line.
Technical foul has been called.
And now, you make this one. You're down 11, and you still have the basketball. Plenty of time. 2:45.
Second illegal defense call, and here is Mario Ellie shooting the technical. And now it's an 11-point game, and the Rockets trying to put on a late surge here. Rudy Tomjanovich has Ellie, Matt Maloney, Kevin Willis, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Clyde Drexler in the game. Charles Barkley fouled out with 16 several minutes ago. Team foul.
Everyone's complaining, okay? Houston is complaining to Eddie Rush. Utah is complaining to Jimmy Clark about the areas for the zone call.
Jazz are in the penalty, and the Rockets' next foul will put them there. So you're not complaining, and I'm happy about that. All right, thank you very much, Vince. 2:43 to go. Matt Maloney had a knee that was bleeding, and that's why he had to go to the bench. Hakeem Olajuwon cuts the lead now to 9, 97-88, and a holding foul against Maloney with 2:32 to go, and it's a shooting situation. Neither team had a foul to give.
We look at the timeouts. Houston has 1 full. Utah has 4 fulls and a 20. Both teams shooting the penalty.
And John Stockton on the free throw line. Charles Barkley fouled out. 8 for 8 from the line tonight.
I want to make a statement about Stockton. You look at him, you look at 6'1", very slight. He has been in this league 13 years. 12 of the 13 years he's played in all 82 games. The year that he missed 4 games, it all happened in 1 season, and he wasn't even injured.
It was a suspension.
That's right.
I wonder how a guy like John Stockton could get a suspension. Turnover, gives the ball into Eddie Johnson. Said that, you know, John Stockton comes off as a choir boy. Meanwhile, he's trying to take your head off.
Yeah, well,
that's the kind of competitor he is.
Well, again, that's why he survived for this length of time. But when you say 12 years and he played 82 games, never missed a game in 12 years, that alone, doesn't he ever get the flu?
Or a common cold in the cold Utah winters. Winding down to 2 minutes remaining, and Maloney misses and goes over the top, and it'll be Jazz ball. 2:02 remaining, and the Jazz leading 99-88. And you know that the Utah Jazz will be very careful with the basketball and use as much of that clock, much of the clock as possible down the stretch. And a foul, Kevin Willis committing the Houston foul, and they'll be shooting with 1:48 on the clock.
We want to go back and clear up that John Stockton where he really crumbled, you know, from a physical standpoint, and missed 4 games. In that 1 season, 2 of them were for the flu and 2 were for a sprained ankle. So come on, come on, during 13 years, very brittle, very brittle.
Did he bring a letter from home?
There you go.
One of the greats, John Stockton. He too has never gotten to the NBA Finals. We talk about Karl Malone and Barkley never winning a title, but John Stockton trying to get there as well. Up next on Inside the NBA, Rex Chapman, as you saw, joins Vince Cellini and Cheryl Miller with highlights and post-game sound from Utah. And Brian Burwell looks at today's Generation X players in the NBA. Virtual reality coming your way on Inside the NBA. Winding down to 1.5 minutes to go. 100-88 the score, and the ball knocked away from Clyde Drexler, last touch by the Jazz.
You look at that unit for the Jazz out on the floor right now, Dick. No shot blockers out there, but you notice you just have difficulty getting into the lane and getting a clear layup. They rotate well, they sacrifice, they help one another out. 5 guys on a string.
Olajuwon hits the jumper, so Hakeem still battling with 28, and not to mention, Hubie, the 10 block shots that the Jazz have had tonight in the interior defense.
Yeah, and that's out of character for them because they're not really a big shot blocking team.
1:15 remaining. It's 100-90, a 10-point lead. And if you would say that the Jazz are a team that turns it over and makes mistakes, you'd say they have a chance. But there is screen and roll, run to perfection by Stockton and Malone Incorporated.
Yeah, you take that off your video and you bring it into the little guys who are just starting to learn how to play.
That's how to play.
Elementary, junior high school, that was just beautiful.
And Olajuwon tries the stuff in the air. I tell you, this entire Rocket team has to be frustrated with the way things have gone the first 2 games.
Well, Dick, the thing that we'd like to show you this right now. Now just watch as he rolls to the hole. He's going strong up over the top, sending that one home with authority.
Malone with 24 points. John Stockton has 12 assists.
When you lose the first 2 games and you go down 0-2, everyone says, well, now you go home and you take care of business. Well, that's true. You go home, you take care of business, you win 2 games. Now it becomes a 3-game series. You don't panic because you're still the best road team in the West, and you feel all you got to do is just win 1. But what's the major disadvantage? You've got to beat that team 4 out of 5 times.
And I was going to say, the way these games have gone, What gives Houston hope that they can beat Utah the way the Jazz have handled them in 2 games?
Yeah, well, they're going to say we're going to go home, and we're going to have a home court. We're going to play well. We're not going to miss all these easy shots. But most of all, they have to take care of the boards and play better half-court defense. Right here, you're going to see. Now, you can see Stockton pop Maloney right on the jaw. Watch this now, right? You're going to see it as he comes. Now, watch it. Right there. See, he caught him. Caught Maloney right on the nose.
Stockton on the free throw line makes the first one. So, again, do the Houston Rockets have to make the same adjustment that maybe they didn't make in Game 2?
Well, what they need, Dick, is a better rebounding effort, a better they have to change their philosophy on the pick and roll, which we thought we would see tonight, but they didn't do that. And then we know that they have to get more movement in order that the Utah Jazz defensively don't come down the floor 8 out of 10 times, and the routine is the same. Makes defense easy.
Back here at the Delta Center, they're already celebrating the Utah Jazz up by 12, 104-92, heading for a 2-0 lead in the best-of-7 Western Final. That is Shirley Turner, Karl Malone's mom. And she is delighted, as all the fans are, of the MVP of the NBA and having another big game tonight, 24. But tonight's Bud Player of the Game for his brilliant all-round game and very nearly a triple-double, 26 points, 8 rebounds, and double figures in assists, is John Stockton. John Stockton with 12 assists. He had 13 in Game 1. 26 points, 10 more than he accomplished in the opening game of the series. Hornacek with 17, Brian Russell 12. And business as usual for the Utah Jazz with half a minute remaining. 10 on the shot clock, 104-92. And here is Malone. Drexler the rebound. The Rockets held to 37% shooting from the field tonight.
37 tonight, 38 in Game 1. Dominated on the boards 2 games in a row.
And the offensive glass. The Jazz murdered the Rockets, and that's where they set the tone. Houston closed it to 2 late in the third, but a 21-4 run broke it open. And the final seconds tick off. And the Utah Jazz will take a 2-0 lead to Houston Friday night here on TNT. And will need only 2 games more to earn the right to get to the NBA Finals for the first time in their history. Final score here in Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz 104, the Houston Rockets 92. And let's go to Brian Burwell, who's with Karl Malone.
All right.